So the next one is we have Lovee Jain. She is a software engineer at Prezzee, AWS Community Builder, and Google Developer Expert, WTM Ambassador, and also GDG Melbourne Organiser. She is a person who loves problem solving and solution design. In this talk, she will start off by introducing the agent development kit and how developers can use it to orchestrate multi-agent workflow. And also, she will show us the live demo point-based buying agent. So please give a warm welcome to Lovee Jain.
Hello, everyone. So who is excited by Ankur's talk on ADK? Nice. Cool, cool. So that's good to know. I'm so happy I'm going after Ankur so that we can actually continue the whole hype of ADK, break it down, actually do some real-life coding, and create our own agents. So before I start, thank you so much for the intro. I'll actually straight away start. So question, how many of you here are frequent flyers or travel around frequently? OK, nice. So do you earn points, and how do you manage them? Are you like a points ninja, running around with 10 Excel sheets? Or just looking at points hack and different things? How do you manage it? Well, anyway, I know, Katie, you are a points ninja. And I always come to you for all the advice. If there are more point ninjas, I would come to you for all the advice, because I am not one. But anyway, even if you're not a frequent traveler, I'm sure you're still earning points through different loyalty programs, such as Flybys or Woolies rewards programs, or even with your banking, right? But the important question is, how do you actually spend it? Do you often get confused whether you want to upgrade to the business class or buy a lounge pass, or maybe buy a toaster or something? Do you get confused with the points that you've got? How do you spend it? Or are you one of the novices, just like me, who really doesn't know when my points are going to expire, how I get the best deals out of my points, or how do I even earn them? I am one of those most uninformed persons, and that's why I need an agent. It's all about agents these days, so let's actually build this agent. This talk is going to be all on your flights, travel theme. So I would say fasten your seatbelts and get ready for the journey. So what we have got on the itinerary is we'll be checking in and doing the security with ADK and MCP, which Ankur has already done. So you've already checked in at your home, in a way. Then we'll be looking at agents, features, and tools. We'll be going through auth, context, and runtime. Looking at deployment options, we'll be live coding and creating our own agent. If you have laptops and you want to do it together, you can do it together. It's not a big deal. We can go together. And then we'll be looking at a points redemption demo, and finally arrive with some takeaways and next steps. All right, so as Ankur mentioned, Agent Development Kit is an open source framework to build AI agents. And what is an AI agent? An AI agent is it's like your personal travel assistant, or I'm just giving you the analogy so that you can connect and grasp the concepts in a much better way. So it understands what your travel needs are. It will actually give you where you want to go, what flights you should take, and what are the best options. And you really don't have to do anything. All you do is just talk to it, right? So AI agent is a similar concept. It's just AI. And it is a system that can perceive text, context, make decisions, and the most important bit is it can take actions itself. It wants to achieve a goal. You tell it, I want to do this, and it will take the right actions to achieve a goal. Coming back to ADK again, a couple more things, which already Ankur has mentioned, that it is model agnostic, deployment agnostic, and built for compatibility with other frameworks. And other frameworks, when you think about it, MCP comes to your mind. So MCP is open source standard for connecting AI applications to external systems. Let's follow our travel analogy. Consider MC, so maybe you can think of it as your ADK is basically the airport terminal, and it has got gates, lounges, runways, et cetera, but your MCP, which is the protocol, it would ensure that your flights could actually safely connect with these airports. So that is the difference you can understand between the ADK and MCP. They are not something that you can compare together. I mean, you do not have to compare them against each other. They need to complement, they actually complement each other. Together, ADK runs the operations, while MCP ensures interoperability. Some of the key features, flexible orchestration. So talking about orchestration, we saw some very good demo from Ankur. So we saw one of the agents that had a very big diagram, and there was one root agent that was calling different agents. So it's all about telling or asking it what needs to be done. How do you actually plan complex itineraries, right? That, OK, I need to do this, and then I do need to do this, and then I need to do that. So that is a different number of steps, and that is what you do with flexible orchestration. It allows you to do that. You can create multiple agents for each task. Consider it, again, travel analogy, consider it like a crew on a flight, right? So you have pilots, you have cabin crew, you have ground staff, and each of these, consider them as agents, because they each of them have a different role. So they can do different tasks. And ADK is what makes them work together in a sync. And it comes with a rich tool ecosystem, such as, if, again, travel analogy. Think of it in that mind, so you would actually always remember. So again, so for example, you have access to lounges. So lounge could be your tools, or the different airlines, or shuttles. These are different tooling that your ADK has access to. Or if you talk about in the ADK context, you can call different functions and different APIs, or just do something custom by calling these tools. And then you can actually deploy it anywhere. And we are going to do a deployment today, and we are going to deploy it on Cloud Run. It offers building safe and secure agents by and ensuring the safety. Sorry. And then you can actually get the development interface. We'll talk about the security and authentication bits in the next slides. And it comes with a very cool development interface. So if you are debugging, then it makes it so much easier to do that. And we are going to look at, we already saw the brief when Ankur was showing it. We are going to go in details when we actually look at it in the live demo. Coming up next is the types of agents in ADK. And we already saw that there are LLM agents, workflow agents, and custom logic agents. And they all inherit from a foundation class, which is your base agent class. Your LLM agents would actually, let's actually compare and talk. Your LLM agents could be used for simple reasoning, which is based on your large language models. So just use those models, and they would give you good responses. And these are actually non-deterministic. The LLMs have been trained on a lot of data, and every time it comes with a response, it is a different response. It could be anything, but obviously related to your query. And the primary use for it is the language tasks and dynamic decisions. The next comes is workflow agent. Now, when you need orchestration in a particular manner, for example, I don't want my agent to waste any time. I want it to quickly search flights and hotels together. Then what I can do is I can run them parallelly. I can put it as the logic there. Or what if what I want to do is I want the user to confirm first and do the booking. Then that means it is a sequential action, right? So I can make it do that. So it is much more deterministic. And that's why you have different kind of workflow agents, which is your sequential, parallel, and loop agents. And then we have custom agents. Custom agents, you can implement a unique logic or unique thing that you want that specific agent to do, it would depend, the determinism, it would depend on the way you actually create that agent. Going back to my travel analogy, consider your custom agent. So if you go to the airport, LLM agents could be like it could just tell you like a normal travel advisor. So say, Katie is my LLM agent who I go to for all the travel advice. But she will not do bookings for me. That I will have to do it myself or via some tool, right? And the workflow agents are like multiple things. Again, booking the flights, redeeming the points, or doing any upgrades, and things like that. And your custom agent could be something that is about maybe booking airport pickups. They're just about that. And they really do that well. OK, going to some ADK tools. We already saw what was function tools. So if you have custom function logic that you want to call, that's when you will use function tools. You can even use agents as tools. So consider it like it's more like a code share alliance. So consider like one airline is letting you redeem points on a partner airline. That would be your analogy when you're thinking about using agents as tools. And then we have long-running tools. So long-running tools could be like your stopover flights, right? At the end of the day, you definitely reach the destination. And then the built-in tools. Built-in tools could be like your in-flight meal services or wheelchair assistant. They are complementary. They come up already with the whole package. Then there are third-party tools. So third-party tools could be I think we saw LangChain, yes, and Crew AI and those tools. Then obviously, this is all Google. So GCP tools, that is a must, and MCP tools and Open API tools. So if you want to connect to your API, external APIs via Open API, you can actually use an Open API tool. It is very good. If you haven't used it, you should definitely try. It just gives you everything about your APIs and makes your life so much easier. OK, so we have been talking about tools, but there is a very important bit that is missing from here. Anyone? Anyone?
Real-time searching? Real-time searching. Searching real-time.
Searching?
In real-time.
That could be a custom, right? Or third-party tool.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. Authentication. How would you manage authentication? You're calling so many external tools. These tools actually might be accessing some protected data resources. So how do you actually authenticate? So let's actually have a look at an example workflow to understand how you can really authenticate. It's just one example workflow. So you have an end user, agent client, ADK, LLM. It's a BigQuery tool, Google OAuth, and BigQuery API. So you have some data in your BigQuery. And what you have done is you have created a BigQuery tool to be able to access that data. Now, to be able to use that tool, you need to be authenticated, right? So let's start the flow. It starts with the user query. The query goes from the user to the agent client and goes to ADK. And then from there, it goes to an LLM, where LLM realizes, oh, I need to call a tool. So it wants to call the BigQuery tool. It does that BigQuery tool and then realizes, oops, the token is missing, or the token has actually expired. So what it does is it wants to request credentials and hands it back all the way to ADK. And now it is where you actually add your authentication bits, where you would create like a long-running function that can generate URI or a credential request. And then you could ask, this is just an example of a OAuth. So you can have different authentication schemes. And depending on that, it would depend. So if you're looking at this one, it could redirect you to log in via your Google account. and it would directly go all the way through to the auth flow, and then it would come back with a token that could be used throughout the session. So that is an example workflow, and you can do this by creating different tools and having authentication bits embedded in this way. Now, coming to context and callbacks. So Ankur briefly already touched upon what are sessions, or he already talked about context. Now, say I'm chatting to an agent, and it tells me, OK, you have got 50,000 points. And then I buy something, and then it doesn't know what my point balance is. How bad is that? It needs to know what the current state is of my points, right? It needs to know what is going on. It needs to know about me. So if you are talking about a session, that is what you're talking about. So I'm sure you've used Gemini. So if you are actually on a new chat, that could be your particular session, that chat session. And then there is state. State would be that point balance, which you are maintaining as you're spending. It knows, OK, now to update this one. And if, for example, you did a booking, you have a booking reference. And that is what you would have as in your state. And then memory could have things like your metadata. And then there is something called as tool context. So for example, after you make a booking, you get a booking reference as an output in the tool. So that output is something you want to use to maybe send an email via another agent, right? So that output can be the part of the tool context. Now, talking about callbacks. Very good analogy with callbacks. They are just hooks. So if you called an agent, and what you want to do is you want to log that my agent was called with so-and-so, then you would use a callback. So before calling the agent, after calling the agent, before calling the model, after calling the model, before calling the tools, after calling the tools. So there are so many hooks there. And they also help with adding more observability, debugging, and they can actually help you monitoring and enforcing any rules as well. Again, airline analogy, consider them like your flight notifications. Say you are boarding the flight. So the gate has opened, boarding has started, group 6 is called, group 4 is called, boarding has closed, something like that. So those would be happening via the callbacks. And I just cannot miss the ADK runtime. That is the main core agent or the core bits of ADK. So talking about the runner, runner is the main entry point and is like an orchestrator that runs the user query. Works on the user query, and then it actually decides, creates an event loop and decides, OK, what I need to do by looking at the execution logic. Your execution logic consists of the agents, tools, callbacks, and things like that. And that is where the core capabilities is in the execution logic. And then an event is created, and the whole event loop goes on. It can use services, such as a session service, a memory service. There's also an artifact service, so things like that. OK. Lastly, you can deploy your agents literally anywhere. With the power of containerization, you just prepackage build it and deploy it and run it anywhere. It could be on Agent Engine, which is a fully managed auto-scaling service on GCP, as Ankur mentioned, or do it simply by doing it on Cloud Run. So let's actually start doing it live. So what we are going to do is we just have 10 minutes left, ideally, if you look at the 30-minute window. So we are going to look. We already saw Google search tool in the previous talk being used. But how do you do it yourself? Let's actually do it ourselves right away. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a perfect itinerary agent that can create itineraries for you using the Google search tool. If we have time, we could actually do something with sub-agents and create 3 different agents. And we will actually deploy with the UI on Cloud Run and check out the deployed version. So let me update this sharing. Okay. We are going to use, I'll reconnect. We are going to use Google Cloud Shell Terminal because it comes with the editor and tools built in, so it makes things a lot easier. Oh, I had connected this before, it lost the connection. Okay, it's back. Alrighty, so looking at the documentation, let's start with Python. All I have to do is install Google ADK. Because this is Google Cloud Shell, it already has that, and we are simply going to create the agent. So actually, let me create a new directory, ADK live, and then ADK create my agent. That's the easiest way to go. Wow, there is a typo. Anyway, so as we saw, it's going to ask me whether I want to use the credentials from the using the Gemini API or Vertex AI. Let's try Vertex AI. So first it's going to ask me which model to use, and then we are going to use Vertex AI. And this is my project, and US Central 11 is usually this. US Central 1 is usually what I choose as my region. So let's go to ADK Live and see what we have got here.
You run the command outside the program.
Yeah, we can do that here again. That's okay.
But don't fix the pattern.
It's okay. It's a new word. Okay. All right. Let's open the editor, and we have it here. So this is your basic agent code. So if you look at it, it's got a root agent. It tells you about the model, the name, gives description, needs a description and instruction. We are going to talk about the description and instruction in a minute. So let's actually run it. And it was that easy to run it. OK, cool. So we've got it here. And it should be working. Now, Ankur showed you that he was trying to do the weather data, right? Let's ask it another question. Who is the president of US? Joe Biden? Yes, because it is trained on historical data. It is just using that LLM and answering the questions to its limited knowledge. So let's actually integrate it with the Google search tool. So let's go back to the editor. And what we do is we actually first need to import it. So from Google, I think the Gemini magic should work. It should, yes. No, that's the normal one. Yep. I was hoping the Gemini would prompt me stuff. Now it started. OK, import tool, and then there should be, yep, tools. And that should be, oh, actually, hang on. It's not the tool. I need Google search. Yep. And can you see the screen clearly, right? Yep. Yeah, OK, cool. And we've got Google search. All righty. I think that's it. And then going back to the terminal, I need to kill this. Ankur, I have a question. When are we getting hot reload?
Yeah. I'll let the team know.
OK. We can continue and refresh this. it was using a different session, so I refreshed it, created a new session. That's why it's giving me this thing. And now, hi, who is the president of US? Okay, so now you know that it is doing a Google search, right? So what all happened? So this is where you can see the different type of agents. And if you look at it here, you would know that this is the root agent, and you have got a Google search tool. And this is where it is calling this. This is the detail about the event. You can view the details about the request and the response. So if you look at the event, then you would see that it has got information from these many places, from USA.gov, Wikipedia, and these many sources. And then it has got some confidence vote as well on the search. That should be somewhere. I can't find right now. But the point is that it has done so much of, it has got it from different sources. And this is the web search query it did basically when doing the Google search. So that is how easy it is to get started with ADK and do like a Google search tool. Now let's actually talk about description and instructions. So one way you mentioned about using evaluation parameters, I think, evals basically. So that is one way of adding conditional logic or things that you want and you don't want. But the other way is to just do it in instructions. Make your instructions really tight. Like that is the best practice you can do. So I have got some sample instructions already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kill this one, open the editor, and update this one. All I have done here is I've changed the name to itinerary agent. Doesn't really matter here at this point because we just have one agent. I've added the description. And I have mentioned that travel is only within Australia and only these cities. And I have asked it to ask questions about flights, activities, and what all you can do, things like that, and use Google search for it. Now, the power of instructions is really good because let's actually go back and run this again and create a new session. Okay. Hi. So earlier it was saying, how can I help you? And now it is coming up with more relevant questions because now it is much more connected to your itinerary idea and those description instructions. Now, I would say to it that I want to go to China instead. I apologize. I can only help with the travel in Australia. So this is where your instructions and descriptions really, really matter. So this is very important to do. OK, maybe let's answer the questions. OK, then Melbourne to Sydney, travel dates around New Year's, fireworks is the activity I want to do, and solo traveler. Let's see what it comes with. OK, it wants me to give the dates, maybe 28th December to 3rd Jan. And estimated budget, let's do luxury. I can't even spell luxury. And yeah, I think that should be enough. It will take a while, but I'm sure it will come around. And it has given us a really good itinerary. So it has not got the flight options as such, because then you will need to connect to the actual flights API to get that option. But it still will tell you what are your options. You can use Qantas, Virgin Australia, or Rex, or even Jetstar. And then it can tell you Shangri-La, Four Seasons, all luxury hotels. And then any exclusive New Year Eve experiences. So it can tell you all the activities that you can do. So this is how you actually just created it. So let's actually deploy it. And you can deploy it with one very easy command. So going back, killing this session. Now, I had a typo, right? It's called agent something. Anyway, so what you do is you need to run ADK deploy cloud run. Now, I want you to notice with UI here. With UI would enable you to use that same UI that you have been chatting with, even in your deployed version. So let's do that. And your service name, you can provide ADK itineraries, and you can call it, again, the agent. My agent is basically your folder name, which the agent that you want to really deploy. So let's do that. It's going to ask me, I think, the region probably. Yep. So I usually prefer US Central one, because I've seen all the cool new features coming to that region like really quickly. And allow unauthenticated invocations, yes, please don't do that in production. Okay, now meanwhile it is doing this, let's talk about how much time do we have. We don't have much time. 2 minutes, okay, so we'll just go to a demo that I've got. So let me go back to my slides. Okay, so this was something that we created, right? Now I've got one little demo. So I've got like a points maximizer, value, whatever you want to call it, agent. So what it does is it gives you you have 3 ways to redeem your points. You can either do lounge passes or flight upgrades, or get or you can buy a gift card. So what it would do is, as soon as you chat to it, it would give you the options. It has got fake data that about launch passes and uses the launch pass tool for it. Similarly, for flight upgrade, it has got the fake data, and gift card, it has got some data. And then these 3 agents would run parallelly, so that you have all the information in one single go. And then there is a booking agent that you can use to do your booking. So let's actually have a look at that one. All righty, so this is the one that I have got as the demo. So hello, welcome to Points Bank. My name is Alex, and you currently have, so it initializes you with some points. Again, description and instructions will help you long way. You can actually, I'm faking the authentication bit, so you have some data already. So you've got 15,000 points. What would you like to explore today? What are my options? So it has, look at it. It has called all the 3 agents together. And then it is giving you all the information by calling 3 agents. So if you look at this one, look at this diagram. I want you to look at this. So it has got have been called together at once. And now it has got the information on different types of lounge, gift cards, and upgrades. So I want to buy a gift card plus lounge access. What's my best bet? So I don't want to use my brain. I just want it to tell me how can I access both the things with my minimal number of points. Okay, so maximize your lounge access and get a small gift card, or get a good value gift card and domestic lounge access. So let's do a this second option. Okay, and it's also telling me how many would be remaining points, what is the total points that I will be spending, what is the total value, and things like that. So I selected option 2, and then okay, so now it has got both a gift card that I want to buy. It's a $50 Prezzee smart card, and a domestic lounge access and it's going to use 10,000 points. But for the gift card to be delivered, needs an email address. So I have got a temporary email website here. It can generate a temporary email. So let's copy a temp email. And it has created the order. So it is actually using a create order tool. And it's confirm your booking reference is this. You have these many points remaining. So I have got all the information with me here. And what I want you to look at is actually something like these options. So we were talking about the different options we've got. So we looked at the traces, so basically what is going on, all the invocations with each message from the user, all the events that have been happening. But again, I want you to look at the state. Now, what I have done is every time the booking agent runs, I want to save the output from the booking agent to an output key, so tool context. And that is my tool context. And then what I want to, I can look at different sessions that I have got. And then I have also got callbacks. What I want to do is basically every time my booking agent runs, I want to log it. So if I go to my local, I can see that it is logging it. Agent booking agent completed execution. Can you see that clearly? Yeah. So it is actually coming from a after tool callback. So all I'm doing is just logging it. So let's do one more thing. All your agents, all this that we are learning, they're all actually API calls. And as Ankur mentioned, you can actually have a very beautiful chat interface, and you can make that happen by making an API call to your agent. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call it via Postman as an API call, like via REST. So I go here, and I copy the session ID. So my session ID I can copy from here. And I know that my user ID is currently user because it's running locally. And what was my booking reference again? My booking reference is 987654, right? So let me send that. And if I did that, I actually have sent a message and got a response. Your booking reference was 987654. So that is how you can actually use it behind your front ends and make them look really, really, really pretty. I'm sure yes. So our service that we were deploying, the Google search agent has also been deployed. And let's actually have a look at this one now and do a hi and see. So which Australian city are you visiting? Sydney, and this would work. This would definitely work. We don't have to do all the way. So this is how easy it was to get hands-on and create your own agents. OK. So key takeaways. Descriptions and instructions are the key. When we are creating agents, so I used a couple of sub-agents. Like under the parallel agents, there were like 3 different agents. So you need to make sure that the mapping from an agent to parent is n:1. So that means one agent can have one parent. A parent can have like multiple children, but an agent can only have one parent. And then difference between tool and sub-agent. Let's actually very quickly look at this. So you know how this is the root agent or the itinerary agent? But look at this example that we did for points. Look at this. This is the booking agent that is talking to me. This is the sub-agent talking to me, not the root agent talking to me. So if you are calling a tool from an agent, the difference is the tool will hand it over back to the agent, and then you can use it. But when you are doing like sub-agents have the capability to do it themselves. They can interact with the users themselves. And then, what was my slide about? OK, and then there's limited functionality with built-in tools. So one of the things I realized was, and Ankur, a request, that I use the built-in tools and then I could not use them with sub-agents. Only I can use them when I use them agents as tools. So, I mean, it is good, but I wish there could be better. Could be better. And it still doesn't work. Yeah. And then agents can be accessed by APIs, and as Ankur mentioned, this is an evolving space. So watch out for all the changes. Like, honestly, day before yesterday, I actually saw a different way to deploy agents. And yesterday, the deployment instructions had actually changed. Not deploy, sorry, creation instructions had already changed. So we already have been seeing that this is an evolving space. We started with some foundation models. We looked at function calling, RAG, tool augmentation, and then we went to agent frameworks. You're here. The next thing is agent platforms, maybe agent space, agent verse. We will see what's coming. So thank you. Let's connect.